but the Business Council of Australia supports it, so isn't that a good indicator?
Well, look, I'm not on the side of big business, Peter. The Business Council of Australia, I think, have got a lot of things wrong lately. And the Labor Party seems very enamoured with big business. They seem somewhat hypnotised by the tall buildings and big boardroom tables that they sit around with them. But this is a tax that's going to hit every Australian. It will go on our energy-producing industries. It'll hit the jobs in those sectors that are important to many of Australians. It's effectively a tax on anyone who has to wear bright-coloured clothing to work. It's a tax on our hi-vis industries. And so we don't believe in taxes on our side of politics. Now, you're right. Many big businesses feel like they have to do a deal with the devil, so to speak, on these issues. The tax is particularly pernicious because it effectively allows the Minister for Energy and Climate to just decide how much tax a business has to pay each year. And so, of course, a lot of businesses are very shy from putting their head above the parapet, so to speak, because they could just be smacked if they do. But we will keep fighting for small businesses. We'll keep fighting for Australian families who just want a solution to their cost of living concerns. That's the biggest issue raised with me over summer, over this Christmas break. And this government seems to have no answer for people except these massive new taxes and apparently grand ideological schemes to remake capitalism. Well, it doesn't help people balance their budgets.
On that point, the subject of capitalism, Jim Chalmers has got a plan to remake it, as he said. So just moving away from credits and what have you, what do you make of his essay?
Yeah, look, I've sort of dubbed Jim the Messiah from Marsden here in Brisbane. He's apparently come down from Mount Chalmers with a bunch of commandments to regale us all with. But I'm not sure if he is the Messiah from Mars. I think he's a Messiah from Mars, actually. He seems like he's from another planet, as I say. I mean, the biggest issue facing people right now is interest rates are going up. How am I going to pay my mortgage? I notice at the shops, every time you go there, you seem to get less in the trolley, but more on the bill. And Jim Chalmers' obsession here is this, as I say, ideological war about capitalism. I mean, no one cares, Jim. They want to know what you're going to do for them. And more to that, there's at least one, I mean, I'll give him credit, there's one policy idea in his essay. That's he wants to create a new, what he calls taxonomy for climate investments, for investors. I mean, again, the Labor Party seems obsessed here with big business. There's not one mention of the word family in Jim's essay, not one mention of small business, not one mention of mining and manufacturing and farming, the things that make this country tick. I just think Jim and his newly elected Labor cohort seem so out of touch just over half a year from the election. They don't seem to understand the pressures on Australian families, and that's why you can write 6,000 words as your nation's treasurer and not mention Australian families once.
Okay, but as they point out, so many of these cost pressures do come from factors that are outside of the government's control. If free markets are not working in some spaces, would that not require some government intervention?
Well, look, I'm not against government support for families. I'm not against, I don't want a unrestricted laissez-faire capitalism. That's not what I'm about. It's not what the Liberal Party's about. To say we're not in favour of big business just getting their way. What the Liberal and Nationals parties are about is wanting to support families and those small businesses. And yes, do that through government support and help. But as I come back to the point here, that what Jim Chalmers wants is not so much to remake capitalism, but to have an unholy alliance between big government and big business. As I say, he's obsessed here with helping investors, green investors, to make more climate change investments. That's to help make them more money. That's what he seems to want to do. I don't think your government should be reflexively defending the interests of the large financial sectors, the large banks who invest in these boondoggle climate schemes. What we need is a government's going to help families and support them, bring down energy bills, help them with the cost of living, get back to some decent levels of family support for people who have children and are facing high cost pressures, help them buy their own home, like the Coalition wants to do by giving them access to their superannuation. Those sort of things, the real practical, tangible things governments can do to help people, rather than, as I say, just seek to support and defend the interests of big business.
Matt Canavan, we'll leave it there. Appreciate it, though. Thank you.